Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare Maven and I love talking about horror. I'm gay. This is a gay horror movie. Let's talk about it. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. So happy you found my channel. Hopefully you stick around for a while. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. I'm very happy to see you again. Before I even start with the summary for this movie, I want to give a warning that this is not a spoiler-free review. That's why it's not in the title. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want it spoiled for you, click away, go watch the movie, come back. Yeah. So the last thing Mary saw takes place in the winter of 1843, and a young woman is under investigation following the mysterious death of her family's matriarch. Her recollection of the events sheds new light on the ageless forces behind the tragedy. The events surrounding the death of the matriarch and ultimately Mary's entire family surrounds the relationship that Mary has with her maid Eleanor. So to Mary's super duper religious family, obviously this poses a problem to them. The religious themes in the movie are probably the most unique thing about it, to me anyway. Not so much the religious oppression that empowers Mary's family to punish her and Eleanor. That's not anything we haven't seen before. But the mixture of the occult and this like Calvinistic religious ideology from the family's matriarch was very interesting and terrifying. There's so much of Christianity that takes from paganism, like dating way back to when, you know, the church was trying to convert people to Christianity. You know, so they borrowed a lot from pagan religions to make it more palatable for people they were trying to convert. That's why the matriarch in this movie is so fascinating to me, because she appears to have some ties to the occult. Like we see her like levitating Eleanor when she makes her mute after catching Eleanor and Mary in the chicken coop. She has that strange connection slash ability to call the intruder, Rory Culkin's character, to the house when she was supposedly dead. And then there's the whole thing of her like being dead, and then we see like her finger twitching and things like that. And then later on when she actually just like straight up sits up in her open casket. So all of those things kind of give this occult presence in the movie, but it's like wrapped up in this Calvinistic, the only law we need is the word of God sort of vibe. Other than that interesting mixture of the occult and Christianity, I was kind of disappointed by this movie. So the movie is about Mary and Eleanor trying to have this relationship and trying to get away from Mary's family so that they can just live their lives, you know, I guess as much as two not men can have on their own in the mid 1800s. But the majority of the movie felt like it was framed through the eyes of the male characters in the movie. You have Mary's, I'm not quite sure the relationship, like I know they're all like Mary's family in the house. Her older brother or Mary's cousin with his silly kind of slicked hair look he's got, whatever relation he is to Mary, that guy who gives me big like Grimmer Wormtongue vibes, just like slinking around and being all sneaky and gross and trying to catch people doing stuff they're not supposed to. Mary's father, who later in the movie admits to bringing in this non-religious book that Mary and Eleanor are reading from, which is a partial reason for their punishment that they receive throughout the movie. You have the guard, who is like the catalyst for Mary and Eleanor trying to free themselves. And then you have Mary's little brother, like the eyes for a lot of Mary and Eleanor's interactions. So many of their interactions, like alone together, whether it be somewhere in the house or the scenes of them being corrected, which is the punishment doled out to them by Mary's family, we see through this younger brother who's like sneaking around and peeping on this happening. It kind of suggests that like the men slash boys witnessing these events are more important than the events themselves. Sorry for the super binary language here, but the difference between the male and female experience in this movie, especially in this kind of situation, is stark. So we have Rory Culkin's intruder character who comes in about halfway through the movie. He is similarly afflicted by improper behavior in the form of a birthmark that covers the majority of his face. Tells Eleanor that this sort of mark is supposedly the sign of being born out of wedlock, and that his mother was told by a doctor to kill him in order to like right the wrong. The intruder kills his mother instead, therefore gaining his freedom. Which is exactly what Eleanor and Mary are trying to do. They are plotting to poison Mary's entire family so that they can finally be free of this oppressive house. But I can't help feel a little bit frustrated because the intruder character, being a man, obviously has a lot more rights than Mary and Eleanor and has a lot more agency. So even though we don't like see the events surrounding him killing his mother, I can only imagine he pretty much got away with it. He's able to move about as freely as he chooses. But not only that, he can, you know, come up to the house, he can kill Eleanor and just leave as he pleases, and he still has his freedom and he's able to do all these things. And all Mary and Eleanor are trying to do are just escape, and they can't even do that. So in contrast to the intruder story, you have Mary and Eleanor, whose story ends in them both being killed. And that's the only way that they can have freedom. And yes, we kind of have that cliffhanger-esque ending where Mary is hanging from a tree. The constables have heard her story and declare that she's still sinful and hang her, and we see her finger twitching much like her grandmother's when we thought her grandmother was dead, which suggests possibly whatever power her grandmother had has maybe passed on to her. So she does end the movie with some sort of power, but it only comes after literally everyone is dead, including herself and including Eleanor. They're not allowed to kill everybody else and just walk away and live. That's not allowed for these two women. Can you see my frustration here? Those reasons that I just can't escape disappointment in this movie, because it's just like every other lesbian period film I've ever seen. They're just doubling down on the oppression. So not only are the main characters uterus owners who, you know, you don't have to go back that far in history for for like any minority group to not have rights, on top of them being gay. So, you know, we're just doubling down on the oppression. So you know they're not going to have happy endings. I think the film itself is effective in what it was trying to convey. It's obviously trying to show this super duper bleak story of this really oppressive environment, which works really well with the setting. The house is super claustrophobic and everything's lit with like natural light, and it's always overcast, you know, it's always super duper overcast during the daytime, and then at night obviously everything is just candlelight. So there's all these shadows in these already super closed off rooms, which just makes everything feel even smaller and more closed off. You know, works to convey how trapped our characters feel. I think the film did well in conveying that. Like, that's, to me, it seems like that's clearly what the filmmakers set out to do. My big issue with it is that it just feels like a been there, done that story ultimately. It's just yet another tragic white lesbian period piece. I really want to hear y'all's thoughts on the movie though. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe something went over my head. Maybe you just have a different perspective on it. Share it in the comments. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5. Yeah, it just, it did what it set out to do. I just didn't like it. So there's the, yeah. If you've seen The Last Thing Mary Saw, which I hope you did, if you got all the way to the end of this video and I didn't just like tell you everything that happened. Again, let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out. Or don't. that's okay. Subscribe if you're new here, become a creepy peep today. I post a new video every Saturday. I have live streams kind of regularly, so I'll see you very soon with a live stream. Yes, Creepy Book Club live stream tomorrow, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, stay strange. Bye.